little over a year ago, I made a video about how I learned to love Destiny. It wasn't easy. I began my Destiny journey petty and spiteful about the fact Bungie was making something that wasn't Halo. And as we all know, new is bad, therefore Destiny is bad. Deep down though, I was jealous of Destiny, because while Bungie was riding high on the success of the Taken King and influencing the entire game industry with a second hit gaming franchise, Halo 5 was a dud that sent the Halo community into a meltdown. I won't give too much away because that video still exists and I am quite proud of it, and it does reflect my opinions on Destiny at the time. I'll link it down below, but long story short, I eventually opened my heart to Destiny, and while Destiny 2 Year 1 sucked, catching up on the great lore of Destiny 1, finally understanding the universe and being a part of the theorizing about where everything was going, from the mystery of the Nine and the horse made of stars, the philosophy of the darkness and what it operates under, and what the Traveler might truly be. These things kept me happy, even though the actual in-game storytelling wasn't very good during Year 1. I made it to Forsaken, and dude, Forsaken rocked. It brought back the magic of Destiny 1 into Destiny 2, with a brilliant soundtrack, a story that actually felt well-written, well-paced, and cleverly conceived, and a ton of changes to the core mechanics that pushed the gameplay loop in the direction Destiny 2 desperately needed. Best part is, that following year introduced this new concept of seasons to Destiny. The first season, Black Armory, was kind of boring, to be honest. The story wasn't very interesting and the core gameplay seemed a bit boring, but the next two seasons smacked, man. Season of the Drifter was this unraveling story about the mystery of this cosmic, incomprehensible force and its ties to the character, the Drifter. It was a creepy, mysterious season that explored the best aspects of the Destiny IP, cosmic phenomena, ancient intelligences slumbering in deep space, and the question of if the stars are really looking back at us. Season of Opulence went on to smash as well, and when the news broke that not only would Destiny's next expansion bring back the moon, one of my favorite locations, but Bungie was free from Activision and would be bringing Destiny to Steam, dude, life was good. Little did I know that it would be the beginning of a complicated and slow downward spiral for the game I fell in love with. I hope you're ready to hear my tale. Oh, what's this? Oh no, my bills need to be paid. Thankfully, my friend, Actual Halo Grunt, is here who can help me out.
Hello, heretics! I am Shellflap, and I want to tell you about Proton VPN. Proton VPN is your trusted ally in the battle for online privacy. How does it work? Dumb human, the answer is simple. It hides your real IP address, allowing you to surf the web without the watchful eye of an evil banished AI. But that's just the beginning of what Proton VPN can do for you. Do you play online games such as Circle Game and feel like you want to despawn because of bad connections? With a few simple clicks, you can change your virtual location to anywhere in the world and game on servers you prefer. Want to know something else that's pretty hella wicked dope? Proton VPN's Net Shield feature blocks ads and online trackers. Ready to protect your online world? Head over to Proton VPN's website. If you use the link down below, you get a whopping huge 60% off. Plus, they offer a free version if you want to give it a try. It's a service so good it gives me a big, grunty thirst. Thanks to Proton VPN for sponsoring today's video. Oh no, the ad's over.
Okay, that was fun. Let's talk about the first crack in Destiny's armor for me. Shadowkeep. I was hyped for Shadowkeep, as mentioned before. I love Destiny's moon, but for some reason, Destiny 2's Shadowkeep just didn't really do it for me. The new landing zone for the moon wasn't nearly as good at getting you into the action and exploration like the original landing zone from Destiny 1. The incredible atmospheric tracks from the original game were replaced with these weird horror stinger music stuff that I always found to be kind of out of place in the patrol zone. The story was also not good. Cutscenes had this noticeable dip in production value, they looked cheaper, felt less dynamic, and were just sort of awkwardly shot when compared to the cutscenes of Destiny's past. The music was also not really great this time around. It was good music, don't get me wrong, but it was just a bit pedestrian, I guess is the word I'd use, and generic sounding, which is kind of odd for Destiny. It wasn't all bad though. The first mission of Destiny 1 was remastered in Shadowkeep, and when combined with the masterpiece intro of the original game, now in Destiny 2, it made for a great way for new players to begin their Destiny 2 journey. The finishers that they added were also pretty awesome. And it wasn't even necessarily the worst thing ever, Like, Shadowkeep was just a dip in quality compared to Forsaken. When combining its content with Forsaken's, Destiny 2 was in a pretty great place. After the launch of Shadowkeep, there was this Vex incursion thing that I guess was alright. I liked the guns in it, I liked the Vex, and the return of the Destiny 1 Vex music, which, dude, it slaps so much. I skipped Season of the Worthy, and then suddenly the darkness straight up invaded the solar system. Pyramids began showing up on planets. Finally, after all this time, we were seeing the darkness face to face, and it was intimidating. This season rocked. I mean, the narrative justification for the activity of the season was kind of dumb, but the direct lines of communication from the darkness itself were awesome. Hearing the darkness, we learned about back in Taken King finally explaining itself to us, and even implying that it and the light were semi-responsible for the creation of the Vex. Dude, it was all so juicy. This was such an exciting time to be a Destiny fan. And this was all leading up to the new DLC, Beyond Light, which was going to remove a bunch of the boring Destiny 2 destinations, the dumb Red War, Curse of Osiris, and Warmind campaigns with all their bad humor, and bring back the Russian Cosmodrome from Destiny 1, and a new location that was snow-themed. Best part, we get to use the darkness as a subclass. It ended with a bang. In a cool cutscene calling back to Destiny 1's intro, the Traveler saved humanity once again from the darkness before it could swallow up the whole solar system. And after 24 long hours, the DLC dropped. And it was not what I was hoping for. The DLC was met pretty negatively by the Destiny community. They didn't really like the vaulting of content, the getting rid of certain stuff. I choose to sort of distance myself from the Destiny community and stick to how I feel. I didn't like Red War. I thought it was kind of bad and the humor was really annoying. Curse of Osiris was the same and Warmind was also the same, so their loss didn't really feel like a negative to me. It felt kind of like it was focusing Destiny on a specific tone. But, Beyond Light, I felt really weird about it. Despite it being supposedly a Forsaken-style major expansion, the downgrade in production quality post-Activision for cutscenes remained. The main villain just sort of waddles into frame like a guy in a giant mascot costume in her introductory cutscene, which looks hilarious. This big action fight scene in the snow is just kind of like weirdly paced and doesn't look very good. All it really does is remind me of how better shot, choreographed, and edited The Last Stand of Cayde 6 was in Forsaken. And again, this weird, kind of bland writing that was introduced in Shadowkeep. Like something changed in the writing room between Forsaken and Shadowkeep. The story just wasn't very good or well told this time around. None of the villains held a candle to Uldren and the Barons from Forsaken. I will tell you though, the music was a little bit better this time. It's still not as good as Forsaken, and definitely not as good as Destiny 1 Year 1, but it was a little bit better, at least, than Shadowkeep. But still, something was bothering me about the fact that Destiny's music wasn't sticking in my head anymore. It's also around this time that I began to notice strikes were getting kind of annoying, actually.
Here we are again, cleaning up another of Clovis Bray's messes.
Wherever he is, he's laughing at us. He's the reason all this is here in the first place. So many people died. I'm sure wherever he is, he's his fault.
It's just like now the strikes had really bad radio dramas playing over the gameplay.
There's no use in quantifying the help you give. Any amount is enough. You've done far more than most.
And I gotta talk about Stasis. So Stasis really ruined the Crucible, the PvP multiplayer mode. And it's confusing because Bungie made Halo Reach, and I'm sure there were still developers at Bungie that remembered how much armor lock harmed the flow of combat in that game. So I have no clue why that studio, a decade later, said, you know what would be a good idea? What if we gave players the ability to throw armor lock at other players? And it was just a really odd misstep to make because the problems with it were so obvious, even from just the pitch. The newly added Cosmodrome also wasn't quite right. They cut out a chunk of the original map. They didn't include a time of day system. They also changed the first mission of Destiny 1 to add this new character and new dialogue.
I've made it this far. Let me help.
I get it. Nobody likes to be sidelined.
Guardians are stronger together. Isn't that right?
Seriously, this bit of exchange here between the Ghost and Shah Han, it gives me like Nick Jr. vibes or something. Thanks to the new seasonal model, Destiny storytelling got cheaper and cheaper. Seasonal storytelling was now the primary way that the story was being told. Whereas before, Destiny storytelling would focus on grander cosmic concepts that were really fascinating to read about in the grimoire or lore texts. Now, storytelling was mostly just a couple of people in a room secretly being each other's brother or sister, angry at their father, but also feeling conflicted or professing their love for one another, or hatred and distrust, and Destiny just became a really bad, lame soap opera.
Our survival, just because you can't control your emotions. Humanity needs me. You need me. We'll fight our enemies too.
And cutscenes, they're really nothing to talk about. The cutscene quality has really dropped. I played The Witch Queen, and this is probably going to disappoint some people. I didn't think The Witch Queen was amazing. I thought it was just kind of bland. Like, it was fine, it just wasn't really that memorable, and I don't think it was nearly as good as something like Forsaken or The Taken King. Lightfall being bad didn't even surprise me. Yeah, it's awful. The story's not very good. Nimbus is probably the worst thing I've ever experienced in my life, and the core gameplay just continues to not interest me anymore. But really, Destiny's problems extend further beyond just how bad Lightfall was. Destiny's focus on the temporary, time-limited seasonal activities and constant overhauling and changing of legacy systems that weren't designed for long-term use means there's no incentive for me to actually invest time in understanding the game anymore. I feel strong-armed into playing these bad seasonal activities because the core playlists are so starved of reasons to grind and chase loot. All work is being put into the seasonal model, but not enough work to make the seasonal model fun or engaging. There's plenty of guns I want from the current season, but I just don't have the energy or patience anymore to grind it because I don't like playing these modes that have no staying power anymore. Destiny feels like a game now that has no structure, constantly resetting itself, adding and removing fluff, and thinking that I will somehow never get exhausted by it. I miss the idea of Destiny just having a strong core gameplay loop and loot pool to chase, with the annual expansion bringing a refresh to the experience every year, giving me the breathing room to come back when I'm ready, without an entire novel's worth of system changes, subclass modifications, and economy rebalancing to get used to. And of course, lots of really bad storytelling to get caught up on. I have no reason to begin learning Destiny 2 right now or reading about the changes that the final shape will make, because I don't even have faith that those things will be around for very long after the final shape drops. And the episodes they're supposedly switching to next year, the story lost me back when it clunkily retconned the nature of the darkness and light, and I'm burnt out on rotational limited time content, so the episodes just don't make me excited. It just makes me wish Bungie didn't put all their eggs in the Destiny 2 basket, because I wish the game would slow down and stabilize a little. But if Bungie did that, the business model they've attached their company's future to will hemorrhage money. That's the sad reality about Destiny 2. Bungie can't stop. Recently, it was revealed that Destiny 2's profits missed their predicted mark by 45%, and player engagement and spending declined massively following Lightfall. This has led to lower than expected pre-order numbers for the Final Shape DLC, which caused Bungie to fire upwards of 100-ish people from the company, many of whom are Bungie veterans such as Michael Salvatore, the man who worked with Marty O'Donnell to make the musical identity of Halo, Destiny, etc., as well as many other people from art to gameplay to accessibility and so on. Too many people that were a core reason Destiny still had charm despite its rotting core caused by management's inability to see that mediocre, sloppy, rushed FOMO content and extremely aggressive monetization in one single game was not a viable long-term strategy to keep their entire company afloat. Destiny 2 is now almost 8 years old, and because of Bungie's focus on speed over quality, the experience of playing the game ping-pongs me from content that's extremely high quality to extremely bad. It's like Destiny is just this big pit, a dumping ground of content, garbage, and stories. Some of it is good, but a lot of it isn't. And there's no time to sift through the garbage to find the good stuff because I'll get buried by the next dump of garbage any second, so I need to be on guard at all times. I don't think I'll be getting the Final Shape, to be honest. It's not really a conclusion to the Light and Darkness saga, it's a conclusion to plot points that were introduced only in the last couple of years and then clumsily retconned into the lore to make it seem like they were actually there all along, and I don't even like those plot points in the first place. And whatever content is being offered will be overruled and overshadowed by whatever FOMO events begin getting dumped on me shortly after release, and I don't expect the loot chase to be satisfying when the Eververse shop is now more important than ever with how Bungie's finances are looking. I don't love Destiny anymore, but I did love Destiny once. The battle between the light and the dark, defending the last of humanity from the aliens clawing at the walls of the last city, the art direction, old tone, minus Destiny 2 Year 1, and universe that focused on cosmic and grand concepts rather than shallow, character-driven soap operas. That's the Destiny that I loved, and I don't regret spending my time with it. Maybe some of it is me, you know? As we get older, our favorite media changes and adapts, and it's more or less a me problem if I stick around grumpy and salty that I'm no longer the target demographic the game aims for. What I do know, though, is that I can feel the light fading, and I think I may finally let my guardian rest. I'm happy with the memories I made when I did like Destiny, and I'm happy to find the next game that will capture my imagination. It won't replace the experiences Destiny gave me, it'll simply be the beginning of something new.